Hey everyone, one of the cool features in Schoology is the ability to use rubrics to assess student learning, and I feel like that's a resource that we should use more and more, especially because the new STAR testing is making writing a priority, and the way you assess the writing for the students is through the use of rubrics. And so exposing students to rubrics and having rubrics being used to assess them is only going to improve their ability to understand how that's going to work, and hopefully make it easier for them and not feel so anxious when they get into those state tests and being assessed by rubrics. So to see where your rubrics are within your Schoology course, over in the left margin there's a grade setup category. This is where you would go to get information on all the different ways you're going to grade and assess your students. You can see over here in the right margin, right now these are the scales that can be used, and then you can click on rubrics. If you haven't used rubrics yet, this is going to be blank. You won't have any here, but these are all rubrics that I've created and used in the past. You could click add from that drop down and select rubrics and create a rubric to use within your Schoology course. Now, that's not what I feel is the best way to create and use them. I feel it's better to go and build it through your resource, because once it's in your resource, then you can share it and push it out to any course year after year, and that way you don't have to go looking for it. You know where it is. And so I'm going to show you how to do that instead. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to resources. In here, from your add resources drop down, you can click there. Towards the bottom you have add rubric. I'm going to go ahead and drag this open so you can see it a little bit better, but here's how you would start building the rubric. So this could be to assess anything, and it's completely open for you to create and scale it any way you want to assess just about anything in the classroom. I'm just going to call this a sample. To add more criteria, you have a little plus down here at the bottom, and so when I click that, it's going to add rows. If you want to get rid of rows, you would come back over here to the far left, and at the far right, and at the very right of that row, there's a little X to click, and that will delete that entire row. Within each one, you can type the name of the criteria and add a description of what that criteria is assessing. And then for each of the grading scales here, you can leave it to have 1 through 4, or have it be 0 through 3. It's kind of up to you, and you can create the scale to be whatever you want. You could have the total points be worth 100, and so then you kind of divvy up those points so that the end points over here total to be 100. Then you can change the naming for that scale to be whatever you would like it to be. A great thing about the rubric is that you can actually add learning standards. And so down here at the bottom there's a plus for learning objectives. Open that. You can go to your state standards and then Texas, and then depending on the level you teach and what subject, you can find all your student expectations within here. I'm just going to go in and pick a couple of standards to add, and then click add learning objectives. And so now you can see that it's added what that learning objective is automatically into my criteria, and then it's left that grading scale as it was for the other ones, but I can still go in and change that grading scale if I wanted to and adjust it. So let's say this one, I want to get rid of this and just have it be 432. All right, so you can kind of adjust that to be the way you want. Once it looks good, you just click create, and that's going to add that rubric to your resources. You can see it right here. And so now I'm able to add to any course and push it to any course that I want to, where I might want to be using it. I'm going to go ahead and push this one to my course that I was showing you. So now you can see that it's going to show up in that list of rubrics. So I'm pushing it to my sandbox course. I'm going to click add. And so now that's going to push that rubric to my course. If I go back to my course now, and I go back to that grade setup, you should see that as a list of one of the rubrics, the sample right here. And so now that's a rubric in this course that I can use with any assignment. So if I wanted to create an assignment, all you have to do now is go down to the scale rubric feature down here at the bottom, click that drop down, and you should now see all of those different rubrics that I've added to my course. And so I choose the one I want to have attached to this particular assignment. An important feature here is to click show to your students. So you want to make sure you select that box, because that will allow the student, before they even click in to start creating their assignment, they can see what the rubric is and then know how they're going to be assessed, so they kind of know the expectation for their assignment. And so I hope you find this an easy intro into how to use rubrics, and that you have fun using it with your students.